Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Pound for Pound show. Somehow we did not get kicked off the internet after one episode, so we'll try to do better today and see what we can do. So I am Philip, and joining me today, as always, are the three Hammond brothers. We got Ben, we got Joe, and we got Russ. We're going to recap last week's fights. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming fights. But before that, gentlemen, how was your Halloween, and what did you do?
Oh, it was great. Well, I'll tell a little story here. Russ, Joe, and I, we went on this. You heard of Eloise, Phil?
I live fairly close to there. I'm very familiar, yes.
Eloise Asylum. For those viewers that we have that aren't from the area, those 4 viewers that we have that aren't from the area, Eloise Asylum is in Westland, Michigan. We're in the Detroit area. It's an abandoned mental hospital. It's been abandoned for about 20 years now or so.
I think even longer than that. It's been a long time.
It used to run, I think it started in like the late 1800s maybe, and went to the somewhere in the late 1900s, I would say. And now it's abandoned, and now they do tours and stuff. But we did this tour, and I will say this first off. I do believe in ghosts because Joe's heard them at his house. His friend seen one at his house, and our mom, she also seen one at his house. So I believe in ghosts, but this thing was kind of corny. The tickets, first off, how much were those tickets?
Like 120.
120, yeah. 130 a piece, and it was like 4 hours long. That was a bit excessive. I think they could have cut it down to 2 hours, but they were using all sorts of different devices and stuff, and we were hearing so Aaron got in a bathtub, and the ghost said her name through like a speaker or something.
It was a hydrotherapy tub.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a hydrotherapy tub. We sat in a dental chair, and they were using all sorts of different devices and stuff. I don't know how that stuff works, but I'm sure it's like the same as say a magician. I don't know how magician's tricks works either, but I think it's the same type of deal. And yeah, it was pretty cool, but I don't know. It was just a bit cheesy, and I don't know. It was I believe in ghosts, but a lot of that stuff is kind of BS. I think those guys were pulling a fast one on us, but it was a neat little tour, and we got a free T-shirt, so check that out. I survived Eloise Asylum, and we got a break too. It was like 4 hours. They gave us a break in between, and they gave us like a bag of chips and water. I mean, for like $130, buy some pizzas or something. You know what I mean? Come on. But it was cool. It was a neat little experience.
I didn't think it was cheesy. I thought it was cool. I mean, you should cut in the video of the ghost saying Aaron's name, because I still don't understand how that happened.
My name's Aaron. Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, so it knows you. Well, that's a verification that it's acknowledging that it knows your name. I was going to ask it. Yeah. I heard it. Yeah. Are you standing next to Aaron?
Thank you.
Oh, God. Thank you. It's awesome when you get a personal experience in here.
And they told her when we left to say, okay, you stay here. Like, I don't want to bring you home with me because people have brought spirits home. And then she did not do that. And she probably stole something from there too, because she takes stuff from everywhere and brought a curse upon us. Because I had my worst gambling day the following day in
Russ,
probably
what's that behind
2 or 3 years. Honestly. She cursed the house, and now who knows what's going to happen from here. Had a horrible gambling day Saturday. I don't know. I turned it around a little bit on Sunday. I'm glad both the dogs are still alive, but it's not good around here.
I'll cut that video in. I'll let the viewers see and see. I don't know. I don't know how they did that. That's the only thing I can't figure out how they did.
Well, because they didn't ask her to get in there. Everybody was standing around. The whole tour was, and they said, "Does anybody want to get in?" And then Aaron, of course, wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, she volunteered, so it's not like they knew her name and picked her because of her name.
I don't understand what happened, but I know The curse is on us.
You don't have to understand how ghosts operate. You're not supposed to. So.
And then
no, I know, but I'm saying like, Ben wants to believe it's fixed, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, they probably knew her name somehow." I'm like, I don't know. I think like that was not.
Even if they knew her name, she volunteered to get in.
That's the only part. Yeah, that's the only part that I can't explain. But they probably, I think they had people planted on the tour, and that were helping out a little bit, because some of those people were a bit enthusiastic.
I don't think it was that like.
If you pay that much for a tour, you're fired up about it.
I know.
Everybody goes into it with a crap attitude like you had.
I didn't have a crap attitude. I was into it, but like
saying it's cheesy and crapping on it, I don't appreciate it.
It was a bit cheesy, but
it was cool.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't think it was like an Ocean's 11 operation. I think. I mean, I don't think they were that smart into it.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't really pay or care about the ghost hunters. I paid for like to go in there and explore, because I like the history and I love horror movies, and I just think it's a cool experience. Like. A creepy thing on Devil's Night to do. I don't care about the ghost hunters and their equipment and stuff. So
yeah, I like how they let us go like wander around each floor. Like once we went up there, we didn't have to stay with the tour. You could go like
that stuff was just bonus.
Oh, and then there was one part where they actually they were playing cards with that ghost. You remember that?
Yeah.
They were playing cards with the ghost, and they were saying, "All right, guess the number, guess the color, guess the suit," and the ghost got like 15 wrong. It was just that ghost was just a really bad magician or had
a bad dealer.
Had a bad dealer, right? Yeah. I don't know. It was a neat experience, though.
Yeah, it sounds like a good experience either way, even whether you're a skeptic or not. I'm not going to name names, but it sounds like some are a little more skeptical than others. So
yeah.
I did not do anything that exciting, but mine was pretty cool as well. I watched horror movies all night, as you would not be surprised by. But one was cool is I got to do a watch along with a bunch of the cast members of the Night of the Living Dead remake. So that was really
sick.
Cool. Getting to watch the movie with a bunch of the main characters and get a lot of behind the scenes stories and stuff like that was really cool, because the original is one of my favorite movies of all time. And the remake is, I would go on record and say, one of, if not the best remake of any movie ever. Like, you could argue that it is as good as the original, because
I like it better than the original.
Yeah, well,
I've told you that before, and you did not appreciate that, but I stand by that. It's better than the original.
I can't hate on that because it's such a fantastic movie. So, but I'm just such an absolute mark for the original. So it's hard for me. But yeah, they're both excellent, and so that was a really cool experience. So I had a good time.
That's awesome.
With that,
yeah, that's really cool.
So, and I was not cursed, so I didn't have anything crazy happen to me the following day. So
the curse is only beginning around here. Who knows what's next?
It's all downhill from there. Let me
Russ,
tell you.
I just seen a shadow behind you.
I'm not worried about shadows. I'm worried about dumping the rest of my bankroll on something stupid tonight. Worried about the Giants beating the Buccaneers.
Yeah. As you know, I know someone who does house cleansings and does all of that. So don't you worry. If it gets too crazy, we'll get in there. We'll take care of business. So
yeah, it's nervous times around here. We
will move on to the big news in UFC. So I think obviously you guys saw the fight between Anderson and Uriah Hall. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on that, and kind of what do you guys think that was the end of the road for Anderson, and what should be next? And we'll let Ben go first this time.
I think Anderson should retire. He looked good. He looked like he could beat some people in the UFC, but he doesn't look like he could beat top 10, top 15 guys. He didn't look like the Anderson of old, and he shouldn't. He's 45. And I think it's time for him to hang him up. Uriah did what he had to do to win. He got the finish in the fourth. Pretty low output. Uriah's just a weird fighter because he's already said he doesn't like to hurt people. So, like, he doesn't have that killer instinct. And that's why he'll never be champion, I don't think. I don't know. But I didn't like the post-fight. Dana kind of crapped on Uriah. He kind of crapped on the whole fight. I think something's going on between him and Anderson. Yeah, but I think it is time for Anderson to hang it up. He'll probably go fight in Bellator 1, but his family should talk him out of it. He's one of the GOATs. Yeah, that's what I think. What about you guys?
I think Anderson should have retired probably 4 or 5 fights ago. I love Anderson. That's why I hate to see it end like this. Like, it's just disappointing. Every performance is like this now. Uriah Hall, he would have killed in his prime. Like, it wouldn't have even been close. It would have been 1 round done. He would have beat Cannonier. He would have beat Bisping. He would have given Adesanya a serious fight in his prime. Like all these fights, I mean, it's disappointing to watch. Hey, what's up, Hank?
I was saying, Hank, what about you? What did you think about the fight?
I
Joe,
mean,
you can get in there too, because it's technically on you right now anyway.
I thought Uriah looked all right, but I mean, when he finally did decide to pull the trigger, he finished it. Other than that, he was throwing that one punch jab that just kept landing clean, and just never putting a combo on, like one jab over and over. Anderson had no movement. He didn't land anything significant. It's just disappointing. I don't want to see Anderson fights like that anymore.
I agree.
Yeah, it was a massive bummer. Like 50% Anderson would have beat Uriah Hall 100% of the time. Like 50% of what Anderson used to be. And now he's just washed up in one little nick on his chin, rocks him, and takes him out. And Uriah Hall's not going to ever be champion. He's not going to be like top 5. He's too hesitant. His striking is explosive, but he just doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have the killer instinct, and he doesn't have wrestling. Any wrestler is going to take him down and pound him. And Anderson just needs to retire. And I hope he doesn't go to Bellator, because that's just going to be more depressing.
So that brings up an interesting topic, and I've seen a little bit of it going back and forth, and even some of like the big name fighters bringing it up. What are your guys' thoughts? And I mean, obviously I hear how anti-Bellator you are, so I think I know where this conversation is going, but finding guys like that, but finding them suitable competition. Like, where, is there a market to see Anderson fight Vitor? Is there a market for these like legends to fight, but in a where it's a fair fight? Like you said, you can't put them in there with, up and coming guys and ranked fighters, but is there something to say about their drawing power and about still wanting to see them go, understanding it's two guys that are past their prime, and, or do you guys think, it's time to just go?
I think it's time to go.
For sure, time to go. Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's time to go. But at the same time, there's a market for like a Legends League, like Vitor versus Anderson or Vanderlei versus Anderson. Like those fights, I'd for sure watch, and a lot of people would for sure watch. But there's a place for those. It's not the UFC, not main eventing cards. Like people are going to tune in for Roy Jones, Mike Tyson, but it doesn't mean like it's a great boxing fight. It's just something to watch. That'll be a freak show. Like
we need another Chuck Tito's what we need.
We never need that again.
I can't wait.
Ever again.
Legends.
I can't wait. But yeah, and again, like that, number one, it's, is it up to them when they decide to hang it up? And number two, do you guys think that it adds something to a card? You bring like, think of like a big UFC card, and, you sneak that in on like early, like the second or third fight on the card to really draw some additional people in, especially some of these cards where the champions aren't mega draws. You put an Anderson Vitor as like the second fight on the card, that's good to bring in a lot of people. So, I think you just have to decide if it's worth watching, or if it's just like, as to use Joe's word, depressing to see guys that were once some of the best fighters on the planet just look like your dad out there fighting someone.
Nobody wants to see that. That's what I'm saying. Like people you don't like they can put Woodley or Covington out there till they're 70 years old, and I'll watch them get beat up and be happy about it. But I don't want to see Anderson get beat up anymore. I didn't want to see Chuck get beat up multiple times at the end. I just don't. Fedor getting beat up at the end. Like, we don't need that. Fan favorites should retire, like, I don't know, still close to their prime. He could have left after the Bisping fight. That would have been perfectly fine. But
heels go out there and they can just get like beaten to CT. You're good with it?
I feel better about it, yeah.
All right.
That's the heart speaking, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you reap what you sow, man. You're a dick.
It doesn't bother me to watch a-holes get beat up, but like people I love to watch, favorites, like I don't want to see it. It is like breaks my heart to see Anderson get knocked out by people he would destroy in his prime. It's just no need.
I feel you.
I can certainly see both sides of that coin. So cool. Well, that puts a wrap. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to add to last week's event? Are you guys ready to move on to the fights coming up?
I mean, Bryce Mitchell looked good. That's really it. He looked good. Got the win. He's still undefeated. Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I want that dude to get beat up just because everything I heard about his stupid shorts. Like, I hope he gets beat up just because of that.
No way, man. Camo shorts rule. You rock the camo
I know
shorts.
you are the world's
I'm a
biggest
fan.
advocate of camo. That would be you if you were in UFC. You're the world's biggest advocate of camo everything. So
You know it.
Bryce is a cool dude, but there's no one on earth I want to see get beat up more than Greg Hardy. I want to see him get knocked out. I want to see like an Ngannou Overeem uppercut to Greg Hardy so he doesn't wake up for like 2 months.
And yet he keeps winning. It seems like
He
he's going
does.
to do it just to spite us. He's going to get like a title shot one of these days just to spite us because
He's going to run D. Lewis pretty soon and get wrecked.
So
One last thing about last weekend, there was the boxing knockout of the year with that Tank Davis uppercut on Santa Cruz. I know we're not talking much boxing, but that knockout was legendary.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz was sleeping.
Yeah, I'd start
scary.
a whole show about boxing. I love it. But yeah, that knockout, if anyone didn't see it, the Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, look up the knockout. Like the day after I saw it on YouTube, it already had like 2 million views.
Yeah, it was
So
sweet.
you can check it out. It is the slickest uppercut you'll see, and Cruz is out cold.
That was scary. Very scary.
Yeah, it was violent. So I recommend checking that out. It was definitely the knockout of the weekend.
Oh, the boxing knockout of the year. Santa Cruz was giving him like some good fight until that happened. It was disappointing that I mean, it was cool to see, but it was disappointing that he had to go to sleep like that because he was doing all right. Get into a firefight with Tank Davis, though. That's what's going to happen.
It was an interesting strategy because Santa Cruz is a great boxer, and for him to, but he was doing well at points in the fight. Like he was winning that round until he got hit. He was boxing fairly well.
Yeah, that's his Mexican blood came out. Like
you just get it. Yeah, you just
getting firefights with anybody.
Yeah, they just get those dudes fired up, and they'll just go and start throwing down. But that's what happens. I mean, you don't stick to the game plan. So, well, let's get to the UFC event where you guys will actually give some fair and hopefully unbiased commentary for once. Thiago Santos makes his return for his first fight in a long time against Glover Teixeira, who has been surging, who looked very good in his last fight. Give me some thoughts on that one. Santos pretty heavily favored. We'll start with Russ this time. What do you got? How do you see that playing out?
I like that fight a lot. I mean, I think it's a #1 contender fight. I don't know. It was a #1 contender fight until Izzy jumped in there and took some steam off it. But it's a great fight. I think Thiago Santos is going to win that fight. He's just younger and a little bit better. He's only has the one loss in his last 5, and that was to Jones. Even though Glover's on a little win streak too, but Santos is against better competition, so I like him in that fight. I think it should be good, though. Good striking contest.
I'm with Russ.
Joe,
I'm going to take – I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I just think there's zero doubt in my mind that Thiago wins that fight. He knocks Glover out because, like I always say, Glover is the slowest man alive, and it looks like he's fighting underwater every fight he's in.
4-fight win streak.
I don't know how he ever wins. He should never be in a #1 contender fight. He fights like he's 7 years old.
He beat the hell out of Anthony Smith.
Nonsense. He's getting knocked out for sure.
That's what happened. 100%. You're talking about nonsense. We watched it.
I'm with you guys. I think Glover's going to get knocked out. He is a talented dude, and he can beat the lower tier guys. I don't think Smith should have been ranked where he was when Glover fought him, but Glover's not beating Thiago Santos. That dude's just too much of an animal for Glover to beat him. He's just fresher, younger, just in his prime. Even though he is coming off a 16-month layoff, I think Thiago knocks him out. I'm going to take Thiago by knockout. That should be a real fun one.
You guys think if Thiago wins, he should get definitely the next title shot?
I do.
100%.
I think I might flip my pick because I don't like all this disrespect to Glover. I might actually side with Glover now because I enjoy Glover very much. I don't like that you guys.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
You knew Joe was gonna. I was looking forward to this review just because, like, I watched Glover fights with Joe, and you can see him physically get upset anytime Glover is just on the television. So
I honestly think you should go down in the rankings if you fight Glover. He's like a sickness.
Nah,
really.
He sits down on his punches. That makes him look
UFC Corona.
Nah.
What a bunch of haters. And then, we've got the Bozar Arlovsky fight. So obviously anytime you get to see the Pitbull, that's very exciting stuff. He's a a pretty massive underdog, which I feel is very disrespectful. But I will turn that over to you guys. Ben, how do you see that one turning out?
Well, Arlovsky's been fighting since '99. That's when he made his pro debut, and that's insane. Bozer's on a 3-4 fight win streak. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak in 2020. He's looked real good. He's in his prime. Arlovsky's on the downhill, on his way out, I would say. And I'm going to take Bozer by knockout. I think that's a pretty easy pick, even though we've seen Arlovsky upset some favorites before. I love Arlovsky. I personally love Arlovsky, and but I like Bozer too. Both guys are really likable, but I'm going to take Bozer in this one. Joe?
I like that pick.
Or Russ?
I like that pick. Arlovsky's chinny. We know that. Bozer knocks people out. It's a pretty easy pick. Unless Arlovsky, can somehow stay at a distance and grind out a decision, which I don't think is going to happen. Bozer's too explosive. It's a KO victory for him.
Joe?
What do you think, Joe?
My heart says Arlovsky, so I'm going to go with Arlovsky.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a legend.
He is.
It's about to cut a heel promo on you guys, but Joe saved the day, so you guys lucked out. So
Onward to victory.
yeah, because obviously Arlovsky's winning that fight brutally. That's all there is to it. So now that we've talked about the fights, let's flip it over. Russ, it sounds like you're on quite the roll with your betting, so clearly you're the guy that should be giving betting advice these days. What are the picks for this week, and what do you got?
I did okay on the fights on Saturday. It was college football that ruined me, but on the fights, I did have Bryce Mitchell winning, and I had Uriah Hall winning, and the under 4.5, which both happened. So all those hit. Lost on Lima. That's okay. Small amount.
The two you made on this show, they hit. The two that we put on the screen or whatever, those hit.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're doing best bets for this Saturday.
Yeah, what are your best bets for this Saturday?
Okay, we're doing this on Monday, so I don't have the line for knockout for Santos or Bozer. They didn't have the prop lines. So I'm just going to say Santos and Bozer I like both by knockout. I like them straight up as well. Also, I like Claudia Gadelha as a slight underdog, plus 115. I think that's a pretty good bet. But what's that?
Those are your three picks for this week?
Those are my 3 picks for this weekend. I know it'll be plus 200, I would guess, by knockout for Santos, and probably plus 150, I'm guessing, for Bozer. But it's too early for those lines to be up. They'll be up later in the week. Also, add one more, the under in Santos Glover, because it'll probably be a knockout.
That makes sense.
It's a 5-round fight. Both dudes can finish fights. I think it'll be an under.
Yeah, I'll be putting everything I own on Santos pretty much. So
Joe says it's a lock.
I hate at all.
Joe's saying it's a lock for Santos. Let's bet the house on
there's
it.
never been more of a lock.
Okay.
Goodness. All right. Well, let's get into, we touched on it earlier, just a couple miscellaneous topics. Obviously, one of the biggest things that came out of this weekend was the conference after the post-fight presser. There was some big news out of that. It was announced that Izzy is moving up to fight Jan at 205 and immediately gets a title shot. Crazy news. What do you guys think about that? Throw it to you first, Ben. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we were texting about that, and Phil, you said that you should have to defend the title in your division a certain number of times before you can move one way or the other. I agree 100% with that. I think they should have to defend, 5 times or something. That makes sense. He's only defended twice or 3 times.
Who? Jan?
No, Izzy.
Oh, Izzy's defended, I think, 3 times.
Well, he beat Rob, and then he beat Yoel, and then he beat Costa. 2 times.
That's it, just the twice.
I think so.
Yeah, and then but I see why he wants to do that. He wants to be the double champ. I don't know. I think he thinks Jan is an easy fight, but Jan is deceptively scary. He's got that crazy Polish power, and he could starch Izzy. That could be he could take Izzy's stock quite a bit down if he starches him. I think Izzy will win that fight, but that's an interesting move by the UFC. I think they just want to move one step closer to that Jones fight, and that's how to do it. But I don't know what Jones is going to do in the meantime. Maybe fight for the heavyweight belt, but that seems already lined up for March. But we'll see. Russ, what do you think?
I think it's a strange fight to make from a promoter's perspective. I think, usually like super fights like that are made between two champions when like both dudes have like crushed a division, like Izzy, like you say, he's defended twice, and Jan just won the title. He hasn't even defended once, and it's not like a super fight. Like Jan's not even a big name. I don't know how many people even know him. It's a strange fight. If Izzy gets knocked out, that kills his stock. I guess they're just praying that he wins, and then they can get Jones to come back down from heavyweight and do that fight. But it's a sketchy fight to me. And I just seen the opening odds. They went up. They got Izzy at -300 and Jan at +250.
That makes sense. That just makes sense.
I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, for a guy to be that big of an underdog, and when he's the heavier guy, those are some crazy odds.
But what does Izzy walk around at? Izzy walks around at what? Maybe 205.
Right, but what does Jan walk around?
Yeah, exactly.
Jan's a big guy.
Yeah, probably 220, 225, or more even.
Plus, like a lot of times when people like move weight classes and take two titles, it's not like 20 pounds like that. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a sketchy fight for me. As an Izzy fan, I do not like that. I mean, I didn't want him to go up to fight Jones, and I don't want him to go up and fight Jan either. Either way, it's not great. I'd win or lose, I don't want him to fight Jones at any point. I think that's just such a bad fight.
That's an exciting one. That's an exciting one for sure.
It moves the needle for you. It does not for me. I don't like it. Jones is going to be fighting at heavyweight.
Yeah, but they'll weigh in if they fight. They're going to weigh in at the same weight on that day. That's what matters. You know what I mean?
It does, but it don't. Yes, I get it. Like, technically, that is how you make the fight. But Jones will always be a much bigger guy. And
for sure,
I would be excited for that fight because, as Jones put it in his words, he's like, I will literally rip one of your arms off. Which I would like to see. Like, I would pay to see that, which is why I am excited about this fight because, like, I feel the same way as Russ, but I am the other way. Like, I will revel in the moment when Jan knocks Izzy's block off. Like, I'm very excited to see that happen. So
maybe that's why I don't like it, because I love Izzy and I don't like Jones at all. And I just have a terrible feeling that it's like a bully fight to me. Like, why is he so much bigger talking crap to Izzy all the time? I know Izzy says stuff back, but Jones should just dismiss it. Like, be like, I'm a heavyweight now. I want to fight Stipe and Ngannou. Why are we still talking about fighting a middleweight?
You know how Jones is. Jones cannot let that stuff go. Jones just can't. He just can't.
Jones will have a Twitter feud with Khabib over like other people's opinion.
Exactly.
Like, he just wants to be. He won't be.
He's an egomaniac. He's got
100% of the people on the planet concede the fact that he is the greatest fighter of all time. And if anybody feels differently, like, he'd get a Twitter fight with one of us. Like, if one of us said he wasn't the greatest of all time, he would be like,
sure.
He has a crew of people stalking Twitter for people who think that otherwise. And he's like, I'll get him. He's like, I'll text some random fan. I don't care. He's like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, no one is going to think otherwise.
This is a bit off topic. But did you guys see that guy that tried to rob Jones's house and Jones chased him out of the parking, his driveway with a shotgun?
Great video.
Is that recent?
With a shotgun, he's running after him full speed out of his driveway, out of his garage. It's so funny. Dude.
So here's my question about that, because remember, there's always been like, Jones gets caught on video doing a lot of things. So either he is staging these events or he just like has someone follow him with a camera at all times. I just thought it was very weird that
you might be onto something.
He gets caught in a lot of weird situations with cameras around. Like, I'm something not stirring the Kool-Aid about all this.
You're right. He might be like one of those little Instagram thoughts that has a little camera crew following him around, like for anything captured on video,
Yeah.
No, but like the bad stuff too is captured. So what does that,
Well, he's not the one releasing that, but
That's true.
like, how many times has Jones been caught on camera, either like protecting his neighborhood from vandals?
Oh, I know. Yeah. That is true.
Like,
That is very
too
true.
many times for, like I said, for it to just be, there's more to the story.
Oh, I'm buying all these toys for charity. Luckily, I have this camera crew with me.
Right.
I want to see Jones fight Ngannou or Stipe. That's the two fights I want to see. Anything else, I don't care. Well, I care. Other heavyweight fights interest me as well, but that's the two I really would like.
Joe, I'm sorry. Joe, we didn't get your thoughts on Izzy-Jan.
I'm actually super excited about it. I think it's a really fun matchup. I love to see Izzy take on crazy challenges, and I think if you're gonna move up to fight a champion and then that weight class, that's the guy to do it. Because I think what Jan has is massive power, but Izzy's so talented as a striker. He dodges so much, and his movement's so crazy. He's so good at striking. He's just gonna, in my opinion, probably pick him apart, and then that just gives him leverage to mess with Jones some more. And that'll drive Jones crazy. Business-wise, it's really smart, in my opinion, and I think it's a fun fight.
It could be. It could be. So we'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see, if he moves up, is he going to stick around at that weight class? Because he doesn't, I don't know what he walks around at, but I would be curious to see if he fights, there's some really big guys at 205. And especially, some of those guys, like that are like really high-level wrestlers that are 230 pounds that cut down to 205, when like say, for example, if DC wouldn't have just retired and he was coming down to 205, like he would just ragdoll a guy like Izzy. Like, I don't, not to disrespect Izzy's talent, but like when a guy's that much bigger than you and has a wrestling pedigree like that, like you're just out of luck. Like he's going to put you on your back whenever, like, remember when DC fought Dan Henderson? That's what it would look like.
Yeah. Very smaller, much smaller.
That was
man.
Disrespectful. I did not like to bring up that fight.
Well, I don't like DC at all, and
I like DC. I didn't like how he disrespected Hendo, throwing him around like that.
Fight bothers me to this day. So
I think Izzy, it'll all be dependent on how he does. If he gets knocked out, it'll be right back down to the middleweight division. But if he wins, he might.
I think he's just doing it to mess with Jones, just so he can get that belt, and then talk more crap to Jones. I don't think he's going to take any more fights until he gets Jones in that weight class.
100% no. That's 100% the purpose of it. Yeah, I agree.
So the winner of Santos-Teixeira just gets to wait now, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it could be massively problematic because Joe, if it, while I agree with you, I think that's the plan. If Jones moves up to heavyweight, especially if he ends up with that belt, may not be so interested in coming back down. And then you just have that logjam situation where we've got a division with a champion who's not going to defend that belt. And then what happens at 185, so it's, I don't know, like I said, I totally understand business-wise why it's happening. And obviously it seems like everything, the perfect storm is building towards that Izzy Jones fight. And especially if there's multiple belts in the mix, that's like a pay-per-view dream. But a lot of things have to happen for that. And then there could be a lot of backlash on the back end for, and a lot of guys who will be unhappy because they have to sit by and not fight for a belt.
Yeah,
UFC has never cared about that when it came to money. They don't care about people ticked off.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's going to mess up two divisions kind of in the long run. But as far as getting that Izzy Jones fight, that's the UFC's focus. In that,
yeah, they got tunnel vision.
They got tunnel vision for that fight. That fight is happening, and that's how
fight out of here.
Hey, everybody on Earth wants to see that, but you.
No, they don't. No.
Yes, I believe so.
Everyone on Earth doesn't want to see a heavyweight versus a middleweight. That's stupid.
They're going to weigh in at the same weight on one day, and that's who cares what they weigh after that? I don't give a crap.
I care. I don't think anyone who likes Izzy all that much really wants to see that fight. Like, they can convince themselves they want to see that fight, but
I can't.
The only people who want to see that fight is people who want to see him get beat up. And that's like, I'm with Russ. I'm not terribly interested in the fight, but to see him get ragdolled, I do have an interest in that. So. Because I
just want to see. I want to see Jones inspired again because it seems like he hasn't been inspired for a while. I don't know. Maybe that would get his juices going or something.
I think Ngannou swinging at his face might do that a little bit.
I think you're right about that.
Yes. or the heavyweight title, like against Stipe. That would inspire him plenty. I don't see a single benefit to it for Izzy. Like, I mean, the one payday, but then you have to look past that. Like, if he gets the crap kicked out of him, it's just such a bad look. And he probably will. What advantage does he have against Jones?
He's trying to beat the greatest of all time. I mean, he's in his prime. This is the time to do it.
Right.
He wants to be the best.
I think there's a lot of people are of the opinion, because of how he's looked in his last fights, that Jones' best days are behind him. I think that people think he is kind of like on the downturn, and that it's he's as right to be picked off at this point. That like any fight now is when he's going to lose, and everybody wants to be the guy who beats John Jones.
There might be some truth to that. It's possible. I mean, it depends like what sort of picos he has in his system at this point, but they'll always give him some sort of excuse, the pulsing that I've never heard for any other fighter, but the pulsing exists with Jones. So if he's pulsing that week, he'll beat the hell out of Izzy.
They'll change the state that he's fighting in. That's what they'll do.
Oh, they'll go on a full press tour to explain picos and pulsing and everything else to defend that guy just to.
But I don't think he's their favorite anymore. I think Izzy's their favorite now. And if something happens again with Jones, it's going to be like, all right, we're taking you down this. You're going down this time. You know what I mean?
20th strike, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Maybe not though.
19 strikes, it's on you. But
Yeah, you thought that'd have been a long time ago. Well, in the interest of not running too long, we could talk about that topic for hours, but let's real quick with just a quick update. Last week we talked about like the dream state of 155 and all the things we thought could happen. It seems like the update now is the McGregor-Poirier fight is official, and the belt is not going to be on the line in that fight and may not be dropped anytime soon, which leads to lots of speculation. So, we'll see what happens with that. But I want to get your guys' thoughts just real quick on that. So, Joe, we'll start with you this time. You're pretty quiet on the last topic. So, 155, Khabib in the belt. What do you got?
I mean, ideally, Conor wins, beats Poirier, and then Khabib-Conor happens again. Business-wise and fan-wise, I'd love to see it again. I think that's the only thing that might entice Khabib back out. That much of money. I know he says he wants GSP, but I don't think GSP is coming back. I would just love to see his final fight be against Conor, because so many people said, even Khabib's trainer said Conor did the best against him. So I think it'd be fun.
He must have not watched it.
Huh?
He did do the best against him. Come on. And he didn't even have a training camp.
I think Raging Owl was significantly more competitive.
Raging Owl didn't win a round.
I don't really think Conor won a round either, and Conor
The judges gave Conor one round.
Al didn't get finished. So there's that.
There's that.
There's that. But Dustin Connor's an amazing fight. It was good the first time. Conor starched him, and Dustin's improved drastically. It'll be a different fight this time, I think. And I think the winner of that. Well, here's what's going to happen. I think is that if Conor wins, he's going to get that Khabib rematch, and if Dustin wins, I don't think he's getting that Khabib rematch. I think they're going to try and set up Khabib GSP or Khabib someone else. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen if Dustin wins, but that'll be a great fight regardless. Russ?
I think, there's something fishy going on, because when Cejudo announced his retirement, the next day he was stripped of the belt. And when Jones announced he was moving up to heavyweight, the next day that light heavyweight belt was up for grabs. Khabib, here we are, and they still say he's the champion. So they know something. I think I don't know exactly. Something fishy's going on, but I think maybe to add a little bit to that Conor Dustin fight, not that it needs it, but they might make it like an interim championship fight, and then have, ideally, they want Conor wins and then goes against Khabib again, because Khabib fights like once a year anyway, so like it makes sense that he'd come out like next year, fight Conor again. I don't want to see it, because I don't want to see Conor get freaking assaulted again by Khabib. But I mean, I'll watch it, as will everybody, because it's a Conor fight, and Khabib has a few fans as well, so everybody will watch it. It'll be a huge pay-per-view, but why? Why do we have to watch a great striker like Conor go against the best wrestler of all time? Like, why can't we just watch Conor go against strikers? That's the way to market him. That's the way to do it.
Because that's not what Conor wants. Conor gets what Conor wants, and he wants the strap. He wants to fight Khabib, and he wants the strap. He thinks he's better than Khabib.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Look at his Twitter. Look at what he says in public. Yeah, that he thinks he does.
Of course he says that, but we all know the truth. He also said he won 3 rounds in that fight. So, I don't know what to really say about that. So, like, he's not going to come out and admit that this guy is better than him. Of course not. But we know the truth.
If he counts that fight against the old guy in the bar as a round, he won. He might have won 3 rounds, but
I don't know. That old guy might have got him in that.
The old guy took a shot.
He did.
He didn't do any, he didn't do any significant damage. So
I'll be excited about it. Just because I get excited, for every Conor fight, I'll be super excited, and I'll try to like convince myself, like every week, like he could land that one knockout shot before that takedown happens. But we all know, like, it's what is it, like a 3% chance he lands that strike before he's on his back and getting mauled by Habib.
Yeah,
Habib's just ridiculous. Against a normal wrestler, even you'd be like, oh, he has a 50% chance of landing that strike, but Habib's not normal. It's otherworldly.
It comes back because it seems, like you said, it seems more and more he's going to, like you said, the fact that he still has the belt, like, and again, I don't know what it was, but, they had talked before the Justin fight that they had something really special lined up for him. So I hope we get to see some new challenge for him. Like I said, like not rather any of the guys, like other than Tony, I don't really have any interest in seeing him fight any of those guys because like, you just know what's going to happen, Like he's beat them all already. Like it's not even like a bunch of new guys. Like he is, other than Tony, he is effectively like the toughest division in all of MMA, and he's effectively cleaned it out. Like he's beat them all. He's beat them all easily, So other than my man Tony.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's been easy. It's not even like you'd be like, oh, it'd be cool to see a rematch of this fight. It's like everyone was extremely one-sided. What's the point in rematches even?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so it'll be cool to see what they come up with. But you have one more thing, Russ?
I was just going to add one more topic. I just thought of it. Do you guys have any predictions on who the coaches are going to be for the Ultimate Fighter? It's returning.
Yeah, that was a good one. I have a prediction. I think there's a few options. Either Stipe Ngannou, you could do that, but they say that fight's going to be in March. Those are some good coaches. Or I was thinking this one. How about this? Weili Zhang, Rose. Boom.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have 2 women coach a bunch of men, though. I don't know.
That is tricky, isn't it? Whoa! We can't be saying that, Russ.
I don't know about that. I don't know if you're going to get Stipe on there because then you got a subtitle the whole season.
That's right. Who do you guys think?
I don't have a guess. That's why I was asking you guys. I thought about it, and I have no clue who it could be. I know it's a big return for the Ultimate Fighter, and it's going to be big for ESPN Plus. So they're going to. I think it's going to be big names. I just can't think of who it's going to be.
I got one more option. How about this one? George Masvidal, Colby Covington.
Yeah, that's a good prediction because that's 2 charismatic people that'll add big ratings. I think that's a good pick.
Mm-hmm. Joe, what do you think?
I think that I hadn't really thought about it, but I think that George and Colby is probably the best guess, most likely.
What do you think, Phil? Any predictions on that?
Again, it's something I literally hadn't thought about till just then. I don't know why, but I had the sneaking suspicion that that would be a good format for Cejudo to return. I was just trying to think of who would be the other half of it.
Volkanovski.
Cejudo does kind of seem like he wants to return.
Yeah.
Get that guy out of here, dude.
Man, I love that they don't care.
Though.
Oh my
Don't mess
God.
with Triple C. Don't mess with Triple C.
He retired, and then like the next day was like on Twitter and talking all this smack. You retired. Get the hell out of here. Nobody wants.
He thought people would care, but no one cared.
He does it during every fight when anyone in his weight class is fighting. He's like, "Hey, good fight, but I'd still whip this guy." It's like, but I'm not gonna. Like,
right?
It's a pretty great gimmick. Like
Dana won't let Khabib retire, but he celebrated when Cejudo retired. He's like, oh, thank God, get out of here.
Yeah.
Celebrated with the fans.
Cejudo is a great fighter. But does anyone really care? I mean,
no.
He's a great fighter. I mean, come on.
Hey, the argument can be made that he is the greatest combat athlete there has ever been.
When is Dillashaw returning? Maybe we could get the Snake on the Ultimate Fighter. That'd be cool.
That's right.
I don't know if you want your return to be from a 2-year suspension to stick you right on the show.
Get on there, reintroduce yourself to the fans, and then get a sweet fight. I don't know who you'd be against, but
I love me some Dillashaw. I'd be on board for that.
Dillashaw Sandhagen, that's the fight to make.
There you go.
Those would be coaches, but that's a good fight.
Yeah, that's coaches. Sandman and the Snake.
I just know if Cejudo came back and somehow got another belt, and we had to call him C4, I'd be done with MMA forever.
Oh, that'd be. Please let that happen.
Be done with it.
For sure, dude.
That'd be pretty freaking cool.
Dude, when his coach first said that C4, we could call him C4 if he gets another belt. I almost threw up. I like it was disgusting.
Is that your
Why?
boy with the glasses?
Oh my God, dude! Don't even get me started on that guy, or we'll get canceled right here, dude. I won't even start on that guy.
That dude's a class act.
I love it. So
Moving on.
at this point, we're gonna transition. We're gonna jump to a segment that Ben hosts with our filthy casual friends. He's gonna stop and get a little thoughts from some people who don't watch as many fights as us on some upcoming fights. So we're gonna cut to that right now.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is the second edition of Quick Who Wins, You Filthy Casual. The basic concept of this segment is we call up some random friends who know nothing about fights, and we ask them who wins this fight based on one picture we give them. Sometimes we get some funny answers. And this week on the show, we have Michelle, who's Phil's girlfriend. We have our good friend Dave, and we have our Uncle Kev. Check it out.
Hey guys, so Ben randomly sends me this photo out of nowhere, and it's a fight poster for an upcoming UFC match. And he says, Dave, who's going to win this fight and why? And tell me so in 60 seconds or less. I said, Ben, I don't even know who these guys are. He goes, great, that's perfect. Tell me who's going to win and why in 60 seconds or less. So I'm a journalist by trade, and I didn't want to look like a complete idiot, so I did a little research.
Okay, I'm going with the old dude with the funky ears. Just cause he looks like the type of dude who would like go to the bar, take a shot of Jameson, and smash somebody in the fucking face just cause, like a good old fighter should do.
And I found out the first guy's name is Thiago Santos. So I said, that sounds pretty tough. Thiago, there you go. Foregone conclusion, right? But then I realized that Thiago is actually the Portuguese equivalent of James. And I was trying to think of anybody tough named James. I mean, you got James Earl Jones. Darth Vader's pretty tough, right? But then I remembered he turns into Hayden Christensen at the end, and I had some lingering questions.
Or the other dude, he just kind of looks like he's been raised on MMA, and he wants to be a cool kid. But in reality, he just sits in mom and dad's basement and smokes a bunch of weed and cries about fucking Game of Thrones.
So I Googled the other guy, and it turns out his name is Teixeira. And I look, and his first name is what? Glover? As in Grover? No Muppet's gonna win a UFC fight. Give me Thiago in 3.
I think we should go with Texarira, whatever that guy's name is. You know, I literally have no clue who that is, but yeah, he sounds like a good guy. All right, let's go with him.
So yeah, go old dude.
So let's talk about a few miscellaneous non-MMA related topics here. So anything and everything is on the table except for the election. We are not talking about that here. There's enough political news out there in the world. If you want to talk about that, then I'm sure you can go find it somewhere. So what you guys been up to? What do you guys want to chat about?
If you want to give a music recommendation this week, we got Pantera's Reinventing the Steel 20th Anniversary Edition. Came out this week. It's amazing. I recommend that.
Yeah, I listened to some tracks. Pretty good.
I've been listening to it. They put some 4 tracks on there that I haven't heard in a long time from some soundtracks and stuff. Awesome. And the new remixes, the Terry Date mixes sound amazing. Love it.
Speaking of anniversaries, obviously you cannot recommend anything Pantera enough, but speaking of classic albums, they did multiple re-releases for the 40th anniversary of Ace of Spades. There's an edition with it's like 80 tracks with tons of live stuff and demos and everything. There's even like a 12 vinyl super ultra mega deluxe box set, all sorts of stuff. All you need to know is it's Maximum Motorhead. I can't recommend it enough for that exact reason. It's Motorhead. What else do you have to say?
That's a solid recommendation.
Yeah.
More Motorhead, the better.
Music, a song I'm picking this week, AC/DC. What's that new song called? I forget the name.
Shot in the Dark.
Shot in the Dark.
A
Shot
great
in the Dark,
recommendation.
baby.
You don't know the name of it.
I know. Shot in the Dark. Look up that song. That's a great one.
It's a walk in the park.
Yeah, anything AC/DC is great.
Right. You'd be surprised. It's a totally new sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm just so happy they're back.
Kind of the reasons to watch this week. Again, I think that the 3 fights that we touched on, I would say all 3 of them I would expect to be KO or TKO finishes. If you're a fight fan, let's be honest, that's what you pay to see. That's what I'd be tuning in for. Obviously, for the Bellator, despite what these haters tell you, Anderson Manhoff, someone's going to sleep, probably in highlight reel fashion. Always excited to see. Santos-Teixeira, a couple guys who knock out pretty much everyone they fight. So that should be a good one as well. And who doesn't want to watch Arlovsky? So he's just getting ready to make another run for the title. So
What, in Bellator?
no.
Onward to victory, baby.
Okay.
The pit bull is back. So good stuff. That's what I'd be tuning in for this week, guys. So thank you guys for joining us once again for this show. We will see you guys very soon.
Thank
you guys
you,
have a great night.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the fights.
Well done.
Sweet.
Gang, gang.
All right.